Let me ask you a question for both you guys. Like, as you go into 2023, how do you see the weaponization of AI taking place into all this?
Like Chat GPT is a big thing right now.
That was my next question for you.
That's a great question. I don't really have a good answer for it. I've not dug enough into the ad side of Chat GPT and things like it. I will say that it's doing great things on the defensive side. We've seen a pretty good uses for it for creating documentation, for how to do investigative processes, maybe like even generating shell templates for different types of malware families or, commodity stuff that you see on a regular basis. You can kind of use it to draft up a really great report and save time, for the defender. Excuse me. But
I think it's beyond just Chat GPT, though. I think it's
yes, of course.
It's the deep fakes. There's a lot of new AI tools out there that are just, popping up left and right.
Yes.
Especially even in the crypto world, right? Like that's a whole different ballgame. But like, do you see that as a trend that will continue in 2023?
Absolutely, on both fronts, right? Using AI and machine learning to both infiltrate environments, and I think that, in my own personal opinion, more of if you think about things like deep fakes and things like that, information operations and information warfare, like those things are going to be continue to be used by threat actors, particularly probably nation state threat actors, to sow dissent rather, and plant disinformation. That's going to be something that's going to be heavily utilized. And again, as well as, sort of for text-based things, the bots are going to continue doing their thing. If you can have them more effectively craft things in manners that sound convincing, that's great. But we're also using a lot of this stuff on the defensive side to do things like reduce signal to noise ratio, help our defenders out to identify, maybe both reduce signal to noise, but also, elevate things that are more likely to be something that's malicious that, maybe an analyst, for instance, would have to look at, for an extended period of time, do a little bit of digging. If we use these ML models to say, hey, this matches pretty closely to a, relative degree of confidence, something that's likely to be malicious, we can then raise that up. That's something we're doing at Rapid7 and MDR. We have our data science team working alongside us. I'll actually be meeting with them here right after this call, to go over the past weeks, of events. But, using that data to get the best information in front of our defenders faster is something that's absolutely helping out the industry on, sort of blue team side. So I think we're going to see an increase in both in the coming year as a lot of these platforms become better at what they're doing.
I guess I'm curious too, is if there's the new, crime as a service offerings that are, the criminals are actually, soliciting companies to help them get into the market, right? Does it even reinforce why managed services are so much more important, right? I mean, it's not, trying to let people know it's not these one-off attacks. The reason why managed services work is because you have to literally be on paying attention all the time, not just, hey, I'm going to just set something up and set it and forget it.
Yeah, and it's one of those things too that a managed service can help provide in that regard, is the visibility, right? Because we're seeing things across dozens of industry verticals, thousands of different customer environments, and you can identify where threat actors, a lot of the time what customers want to kind of focus on and they have an interest in and say, well, what are you seeing in my industry vertical? And the approach that we tend to take is more holistic. We're looking at things from the perspective of what are threat actors actually doing when they gain access to an environment. What are the types of things they're doing? Because they tend to transcend industry verticals. What is the impact? The impact is always going to be different based on that vertical. What is their goal? That's going to be different. But the way that they're doing things and the way that you can identify them early in the attack chain is generally going to be the same. But because of the visibility that we have, for a good example that we have is we had multiple incident response engagements, major incidents, I should say, where we had a particular threat actor doing They had a certain set of TTPs that they would do, they would perform whenever they got into an environment. And we identified that they were a likely access broker. They were targeting information once they got into that environment related to financials. They were creating accounts in the Active Directory environment that were, pseudo, somebody in finance, for instance. That would be the title that they would give them. And we tracked them across using OSINT, using some other sources to identify as they were trying to change their TTP, and then identify them subsequently in other environments. And that's just one of those things that if you're solely focused on what's happening in your environment, you may miss a lot of this. And that's where managed services can really also help come into play, because of the breadth of things that we get to see and deal with. It can really help you as a singular, customer protect your environment because of just that additional visibility. Whereas you trying to deal with something like that on your own, you might be missing it. So.